The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Earnestly podcast coming to you on February 26th, 2023. It's going to be a little short one. Not too long. Not one of our usual ones during the week. It's kind of a check-in podcast here on things. How you guys doing? Probably go about 20 minutes at most. I'm going to try to anyway. You know how I go. I try. Every time I attempt to do something, it doesn't necessarily always go the way I want to, but I'm not going to spend too much time here. I just want to do a check-in here. It's on Sunday afternoon. My kids are downstairs watching TV. They gave me a little bit of time to do this, so I'm going to do this real quickly and kind of give you guys a little health update, really. Some good news, bad news on the health front, really. I like the bad news first, so let's go to the bad news first. So, a lot of my issues with my neck that I've told you guys about, and you guys know I'm going through this bulging disc. And I said a lot of it is nutritional. It's attached to my nutrition as well as other things, posture, you name it. So I did some work, a little more work yesterday. My chiropractor, because my chiropractor not only is a chiropractor, he also does wellness, nutrition, kinesiology. How you pronounce that? They do a lot of things in on the nutrition side, and they check my blood pressure. Now they did this a couple weeks ago when I first went in to get my the first visit I went for my chiropractor, and it was really high, but that's also because I was in a lot of pain. I wasn't in a lot of pain on Friday, so I went in again this time for my usual therapy routine, and it was still pretty high. So basically, my blood pressure is through the roof right now. So basically, I gotta really get some stuff done outside of what I'm doing here. So my health is not the greatest, and we kind of already knew that. For months, I've been saying on the show that, remember an episode that was titled back in November, December, I think it was. It was called, I did kind of the acronym, diabetic. I speculated that I might be at the very least pre-diabetic or something to that nature. I'm gonna get some blood work at some point in the next couple of weeks, hopefully, with my actual doctor. But it's time on my end to really get serious with health. And even when I get this corrected, with my neck, my bulging disc, because it will get corrected, and that's the part of the good news is that there's light in the tunnel. You're starting to see it. But my wife's been really cracking a whip on me recently now too, also with foods I eat, the drinks I drink, staying on my vitamins now every day, which I've been doing. I said in the last episode, she got me a pill scheduler, which, growing up as a kid, I always associated that with old people. I always see my grandparents always use that to take their pills. But in that thing is also, it's not really just pills to get better, it's vitamins. I put in there, like I said, fish oil and D3 and vitamin C, all those things, magnesium. I've been good on it. I've been doing a good job with it. I've been consistent for the last couple of weeks now with it. So I'm gonna get serious here. I'm just getting serious now with my health and things of that nature, which also requires a lot of lifestyle changes too. And it's tough because how do you retrain yourself after 43 years of certain habits, sleeping habits? How do you retrain yourself to get yourself in the best possible health as possible? One of my biggest concerns is that if I don't, I want to live to see my kids get older. My kids right now, they're turning 10 and 6 in April, and I want to see them get older. Go to college and have they get married and they have kids and whatnot. That's kind of my goals. I live for that now. This is one of the reasons why, while I miss podcasting on a, when I say full time, I mean like my usual schedule. I do, in addition to this show, I do a couple other shows I do, or contribute to. While I do miss doing them, I won't lie. It's been kind of exciting and kind of in some ways a relief to kind of slow down a little bit, pump the brakes on some of those shows for myself, and just kind of focus on the things here at home, because I feel like I haven't, I'm there for my kids. I'm there in physical form, of course. I'm doing the things that Dad supposed to do. But I feel like we haven't connected a lot in the last couple years, especially. And I think a lot of the reasons because there's a lot of my other extracurricular activities I can do take away from that as well too. So that's another thing also too. I'm working on the balance factor of everything. So being able, stopping, doing Tasty Wrestling for a couple of weeks. I have stopping Huddle Up podcast and other projects I intended on doing has been good for me. This show is, obviously this is my show. This is therapeutic. I do whatever I want. But it's been good for me. It's been kind of to slow down a little bit. It's been good for me. The kids aren't getting any younger. I'm not getting any younger. So yeah, it's a lot of things here. A lot of things. So I'm hoping to get back to normal life soon. Like I said, this whole situation has been a hit on me. It's been a hit on my family. It's been a hit on my finances too. Because as a result, my normal job, which I normally do, I haven't been able to do for a month now. So I had to take a step back, and that's taking a hit in the wallet a little bit. But hopefully we'll get into a place now where probably within a month I'll be back to doing what I'm supposed to do and get back to where we were before the injury. Which is the good news here. The good news is that I feel like I'm seeing a light at the end of the tunnel now when it comes to my bulging disc. I felt some more relief now on my left side. So now, guys, I have a bulging disc in my neck in addition to osteoarthritis. The issue where I'm having the problems with is that it's pinching on my nerve, which goes down through my left arm, all the way through to my fingers. So I get a lot of pain there. There's like a little bit of numbness on my index finger, my middle finger, and in parts of my thumb as well. So that's been the issue. That's why I haven't been able to do my regular job for a while. And it's affected everything. But, through therapy now, I've been doing the decompression and ice therapy for the last, this is about 9, we're actually now 9 visits in. My doctor said that between 12 and 24 visits, you'll start seeing some substantial relief when it comes to the injury and it comes to the pain in my arms, which by then, hopefully, the disc will slip back in as it should be, and I can, at some point, get back to a normal life. But the challenge is now, once I get that done, is continuing doing the things that are necessary to, not have this happen again. In other words, nutrition is important, obviously. Water is extremely important. Drink more water a day because it keeping your bones hydrated, and it's good for you. It's good for the disc to keep it slick. So like I said, there's a lot to this. It's amazing how small things affect the bigger picture. It's amazing. So that's the good news. The good news is that I'm starting to feel like I'm getting a light in the tunnel. Still ways to go. I would say in terms of my job, probably about a week or maybe 2 weeks, I will say, actually back on the tables. In terms of podcasting, I would say probably about the same time, maybe a little longer. I'm probably going to take a little longer time on this just because I want to be able to ease my way back into it. Because again, doing 2-hour podcasts it's a challenge. I did a podcast with my buddy Zach on this past Wednesday, the last episode we recorded, the Degenerate, of course, and that went an hour, and I kind of pushed myself a little bit, and I felt it. It was a little bit painful. Toward the end of the show, it was a little bit painful. Actually, if you see the video on my YouTube page at youtube.com// at Ernest Christian, you'll see you can see me wincing the last 10 minutes of the podcast. A little bit of discomfort. But overall, I do feel like you're starting to see a light in the tunnel. I'm not as frustrated. I'm not as much pain as I was, say, a week or two ago. Even when I had a setback, we corrected that. And we're moving forward. So, again, guys, as I said, I appreciate all your concerns, your prayers, your thoughts, and yeah, it's been rough. It's been rough because I'm not someone that does well with restrictions. When it's out of my control and I can't do things I normally do or enjoy to do, it goes to somewhere where I start thinking of the worst things possible. Depression and, will I ever get back to normal again? Will I be able to work and do my job and have to change career? All these things. And you have a family and all that. It's more pressure on that. And if I was single with no kids and whatever, or just even with me and my wife, it would be easier to adjust and to be able to just go through this without any concern. But the fact that I have to, also worry about 3 other human beings in my household, is why I'm taking this very seriously. So, again, guys, thank you for your thoughts and prayers. I appreciate it. And like I said, we're moving forward. We're going to make it through. And we'll continue to do what we got to do. Okay. So, as I said, I'm going to keep the show short and sweet. I want to go too overboard here. A couple stories I want to touch on real quick that came out the last couple of days that I didn't have a chance to touch on recently. Did you guys see the story about Russell Wilson? Russell Wilson, new Broncos quarterback. Well, been a year. Apparently, there was a report from The Athletic that came out that said that Russell Wilson supposedly wanted Pete Carroll and the GM, John Schneider, fired from the team prior to the trade that happened last spring. That's from the Athletic.com. He had asked He asked the ownership to fire both Pete Carroll and John Schneider in February of last year. Now, of course, weeks after that, the Seahawks did trade Wilson to the Broncos. Of course, Pete Carroll and John Schneider remained in their jobs. The report also said that Russell Wilson wanted the Seahawks to hire Sean Payton as the head coach if they fired Pete Carroll, which is kind of funny because now Sean Payton is the head coach of the Denver Broncos now. Now, obviously, the report cites unnamed sources. Of course, Russell Wilson's camp denies it. A lawyer for Russell Wilson wrote a letter to Athletic.com that called the story of Wilson trying to get Carroll and Snyder fired, quote, entirely fabricated. The Seahawks have not commented on the report either. Look, even if it's true or not, it wouldn't surprise me because I remember going to last year when we were saying about Russell Wilson and what they should do with the Seahawks prior to him getting traded. I remember saying that they need to fire Pete Carroll because I thought he was dated. John Schneider, of course, too, same thing. Because I thought that what they were doing is dated at this point. And I thought Russell Wilson was the better fit at that point. Obviously, this looks bad now in hindsight because of the fact that Russell Wilson just had a horrific year in Denver this past year, compiled with Seattle going to the playoffs with Geno Smith as a quarterback. So this is kind of bad timing, obviously, for this to happen. And again, this is one of many things that have happened to Russell Wilson in the last year. A lot of bad press. You hear the story about the charity thing. Supposedly he's only the charity he has going on. He's only putting 20% of the earnings of the charity, towards it, whatever. And other stories that comes out in the last year. Russell Wilson, a lot of piling on. All I'll say is this: this year is huge for Russell Wilson. This year is huge. In other words, his entire Hall of Fame candidacy might be on the line here. It's okay to have one horrific year, which we had last year. But 2 in a row, especially when he's not really that old yet, he's still relatively in his prime of his career, that'd be a bad look. And I'm rooting for the guy. You guys know I'm a big fan of his, so I'm rooting for the guy. But it's definitely a bad look when it comes to the whole situation. The timing is horrible. Now, if this happened last year, on this time, no one's surprised. No one cares. But given the way things played out this year with the teams, both teams going in the direction they went to this past year, it's a bad look for Russell Wilson, and you better hope that things fall into place again this year. And I think things will be a lot more improved, obviously. So that's that. Okay. NBA basketball. The Lakers. We're back with NBA basketball now. Second half of the year. Quote unquote second half of the year because really only a quarter left of the year left. Lakers, and they came out the gate really well. Beating Golden State on Thursday. A lot of talk about the Lakers and can they get the 6th seed how far can they climb? Right now they're the 13th seed in the Western Conference, and obviously to get in the play-in, you got to get between 7 and 10. To get to the playoffs with avoiding the play-in, you got to get to the 6th seed or better. Here's why a lot of people talk about the Lakers could get to the 6th seed. There's a lot of different opinions on that. Here's why I don't think the Lakers will get to the 6th seed, and why they'll be a play-in team most likely than a playoff team. Is because they got to jump 7 teams to get there. Okay? Now, first of all, as we're doing this recording before the tip-off of the Mavericks and Lakers game, if the Lakers even won't have a chance to succeed, they have a chance. And I still think they won't get there, but if they have a chance, must win today. Because this Dallas team playing today is the 6th seed of the Western Conference. So this will go a long way of gaining some ground on that possibility. But again, they got to leapfrog 6 teams. Now I can see them leapfrogging the Blazers. I can see them leapfrogging the Pelicans maybe, and I'll give you Utah. That's just that's still 3 teams though. That gets you what at worst 10 seed, maybe 9 seed. I think the realistic goal here for the Lakers is trying to get to the 7 to 8 spot, because at least you get to the play in the 7 to 8. At least you have the double chance. Well, if it's 7 to 8 and you win the first game, you're in automatically the playoffs. Or if you lose, you still have another crack at it. Whereas 9 and 10, of course, you lose, you're out. You know what I'm saying? So I think the Lakers, while obviously you want to shoot for the goal as high as you can, I think it's more realistic for them that they get to the 7-8 spot as opposed to the 6 spot, because at some point Golden State, look, I know they're struggling, but Steph Curry will be back at some point, and they'll probably get some wins in their belt. I don't see them leapfrogging Minnesota at this point. I don't see them leapfrogging Dallas at this point, especially if they lose today. So they got to leapfrog 6 teams. Because a lot of people saying, a lot of fans saying, "Oh, the Lakers, they'll make it. They got LeBron and AD." Ain't just about the Lakers. It's everybody else too on top of that. Because if other teams win, even when they're winning, that cancels it out. You draw even there. So they still need help where they win their games, number one, do their job. But in concert with other teams, it's a lot to ask for. So I think if they get the 7-8 spot, it's a little more realistic than them getting the 6th seed in the Western Conference playoff spot. But again, this has been a fun last 6.5 weeks, 5 weeks of basketball ahead of us. I can't wait to see how everything shakes out before we get to the playoffs. All right. Some podcast recommendations here. I have one right now, actually, that stood out. The Joe Rogan Experience, of course. They had on Krystal, Ball, and Saager and Enjeti from the Breaking Points team. You guys know I'm a big fan of theirs, the Breaking Points guys. I've been really listening to these two a lot the last year, especially. Big on independent media. Saager is Indian, American-born Indian, conservative populist, conservative, of course. Krystal Ball, of course, progressive, but they have really good, healthy debates on their show. I love listening to them talk about different topics about media and culture in general. It's media I do trust. So, and that's fact. But it was a great conversation for 3 hours with Rogan on this one. A little bit of controversy on that one too, with Rogan making certain comments about Jews and stuff, and about the Benjamins and money and all that. It's silly, whatever. Overall, a good conversation with those two. Fantastic episodes. It was episode 1936 on the Rogan Experience. HBO Succession is ending after this coming season, which is season 4, which premieres at the end of March, which means I got to get my ass to work on that. I am still at the end of season 2. Remember, I started binging last summer, but I halted in August, which gives you now 5 weeks to get caught up. A little less than that, a month to get caught up on that show. Luckily, it's my show. My wife has no interest in watching it, so it's on my time now. Hopefully, my goal is to catch up on the show before it premieres. Season 4 premieres. I think it's March 28th is the premiere date. And if I can get caught up there, I'd like to go week to week with it going forward. Speaking of shows coming back as well too, Ted Lasso season number 3 premieres March 15th. My wife and I have already agreed to rewatch the show. We watched the show already. We caught up on Ted Lasso, but excuse me, my throat. But it's been about a year and a half since we watched it. So it'd be nice to do a little refresh on the show a little bit. It's pretty easy to watch too. Also, it's half-an-hour episodes. So we're gonna start watching it, I think, this week and kind of refresh our memory on the show a little bit, and hopefully in time for the March 15th premiere of Ted Lasso, which is one of the best shows that's come out in the last 5 or 10 years. Honestly, fantastic show on Apple Plus. 2 more things here if I get out of here. Upcoming concerts I'm planning on going to in 2023 so far. Planning on going to May 4th. Mastodon and Gojira metal show. Mastodon I haven't seen in a long time. They're a fantastic band. I haven't seen them since probably 2005, 2006. Gojira saw in 2007 down here in Florida as well too. That's one show I'm looking forward to going to in I think it's May 4th here in Boca. And then I think August, I don't know the date, but it's August though. I know a bunch of friends of mine, myself and mine are going to be I'll plan to go see Disturbed in concert. I saw Disturbed back in 2002 actually with Korn. in Miami. That was a fantastic show. Of course, it's 21 years ago. Jeez, so long. My God, can't believe that show's that long. Not the biggest Disturbed fan in the world either. I like them. I love the first 2 albums, especially too. But after the first 2 albums, I just pretty much lost touch with the band. But they're a good band. But again, I miss going to concerts too, especially and hang out with friends. So it's another way for me to get out of the house and do something different. With the everyday same old with work and kids and wife and all that. So those are the 2 shows right now I'm planning on going to attend in the near future. All right. Finally, if I get out of here, Ric Flair turned 74 yesterday. Man, that guy, what a life, what a career. Ric Flair. What can you say about the guy? I mean, I'm a wrestling fan, obviously. Obviously about Rushmore wrestling all time. Not WWE, Mount Rushmore, but all time wrestling about Rushmore. Like he's nearly died. He's had so much ups and downs, and he's still living to the tale. I listen to his podcast in clips. As I do a lot of these shows now on YouTube. He talks about everything. It's about wrestling today, sports, and life, and he has stories. I mean, this is the guy that definitely needs, the podcast realm is definitely made for him because he has stories beyond our wildest dreams and things that he's went through and things he's discovered on that. But yeah, I mean, Ric Flair, 74 years old. It's shocking he's still alive, given all the health issues he's had in recent years. But that guy, talk about cats have 9 lives. I think he has 19 or 90. Who knows? But Ric Flair, legend, still with us, and he's still involved. He had his last match actually last year, which was, I saw clips of that. It was horrible, obviously, but he's still relevant. People still like him. I mean, I do too. I mean, for record, but Ric Flair, keep going strong, 74 years old. So anyway, that'll do it for our quick Sunday reaction, Sunday podcast here. Like I said, checked in real quick. It's 20 minutes, not bad. So we'll be back here, probably doing one of these on Tuesday, hopefully. And I'll keep you guys updated on my health and all that good stuff. So until then, we'll talk to you guys soon. And stay up, and we'll till next one. Later.